In today's video, we're going to be talking about how you can invest in discard non-rare golds, which can go up to a few K during Black Friday. So just before the video does start, a quick little ad on a trading service I offer over on Twitch for the cheapest trading guides out there for just £4, €4, all free with Amazon Prime. You'll receive daily trading and investing guides covering PlayStation, Xbox and PC with an array of methods covering all budgets. And I've been trading for over 10 years, making over 100 million in multiple different FIFAs. And now for the last 4 years, I've made 10 million coins in just the first month. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is showing you guys a bunch of investments you guys can make that will rise for the SBCs that come out during Black Friday. Currently, a lot of these players are also discard, meaning you can buy them risk-free, and they are likely to go up 2-3k during Black Friday because this trend occurs every single year without failure. So during Black Friday, we basically get ourselves generic SBCs every 3 hours on the Friday, and then every 6 hours any other day. Well, this basically means we get ourselves about 15 to 16 generic SBCs over a 3-day period, which we'd normally get no more than 2, really. So as a result, what it means is the players who do well for generic SBCs rise really, really well. So a nice example of this is the likes of Bowen from last year. One of the reasons Bowen did quite well last year is because there were a lack of cheap English right mids. Because there are a lack of cheap English right mids, it meant any sort of generic SBC that was getting people to use one nation or one league, he did quite well. We can see right here on Black Friday or even Cyber Monday, he went up here to 4k. And that's just because he would have been good for generic SBCs. We can also see though he did rise in the pre-hype here. So went from discard to 4k. And there's certain combinations that do really, really well for these sort of SBCs. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to talk about how you can find these sort of combinations. So the first combination that does very well is players from the same nation as their league in positions where there is a lack of players that fit that criteria. So what I mean by that is if we go the Premier League, we are looking from the same nation as the league, so we're looking England. Now what we want to do is we want to go position default, because it does not matter if there's loads of players who alt position as a left back, because when people complete SBCs, they're not looking at what alt position players are, they're only looking at the default position. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with centre backs and we're going to go through them one by one. So we say, is there a lack of English centre backs from the Prem? I would say in this position, no. Is there a lack of English right backs in the Prem? More so than centre backs, but there's still, there's 2. They're like, right backs are okay. So we got 2, 1 rare, 1 non-rare. Now ideally, there won't be any rares that are discarded in the position. The reason for this is rares are more common than non-rares, and because rares are more common than non-rares, it meant, let's say again, everyone was buying English Prem right backs, well, there's going to be a lot more supply because there's Wan-Bissaka, rather than if there was, let's say Wan-Bissaka was a non-rare, there'd be a lot less supply, and because there'd be less supply, they'd do better. But right backs would not be a bad example. Let's have a little look at centre mids. Centre mids, it's not bad because there's only 1 rare, and formations can sometimes require multiple centre mids, but there's better positions out there. What about if we look at right mids? So right mids are perfect because there's only 3 players, and they're all non-rare. I'm sure that we've already probably seen this year that these right mids have done well. Yeah, we can see right there, Bowen went up there to 1.4k. I'm sure the others, they all fit the same sort of trend. So they've done well for generic SBCs in the past, which is why we believe these sort of players will do well for the Black Friday SBC. So we have right mids. Let's go through to the next position. Left wings. So left wings, not looking bad. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 non-rares, 5 non-rares, and Sterling. Well, Sterling's 2.3k, which meant, if these players went from 700 to 2.3, we really wouldn't mind. And then let's go, let's say the last position right here, which is right wing. And right wing is actually the best combination in the Prem, because there's only 2 players, because you're not going to go and use Saka. So we've seen quite a lot this year. We'll get Murphy, because I know he hasn't been needed for any specific marquee matchup. But there we go, we can see he's gone up there to 1.3k. Probably would have gone out of packs there, if I'm not wrong. This doesn't really show too much, but the thing about these sort of cards is that they'll rise for 2-3 hours when the SBC is initially released and then go down, which means that the daily average is never anything overly too high, because it's kind of like a bit of a pump and dump. But as I say, these cards do normally go up to 2 to 3k and then go back down later in the evening, but nonetheless 700 coins at 2-3k is decent. So the first combinations we'd be looking would be players from the same nation as their league in positions where there is a lack of options. The second The second combination you can look for is just players from the top nations, and it doesn't really matter on the league. So the second combination we're looking for are players from the top nations in positions where there are a lack of other players. So for example, if we go with the likes of France. Now France is used for SBCs out the wazoo. It's used so much. And a lot of the time EA required like 9 rares for SBCs. I don't know if I have any, do I have any from last year? Maybe this one right here will show. Again, just picked a random one. Yeah, you can see right here, minimum 8 rares. So as a result, minimum 8 rares, everyone's building full gold rare and full silver rare teams. So as a result, what we look for is we look for gold rares from the top 5 nations. I'd really just keep it Spain, England, France, Germany, and whatever the last top 5 league is. Basically, wherever the top 5 leagues are, those nations. And what you're looking for is players in positions where there is no more than 1 and 2 different options. So if we start off with goalkeeper, how many rare goalkeepers are there? Do you know what? There's only Lafont. So Lafont probably would be okay, I'd say, because these 83s obviously are 2.3k, which means Lafont would be decent. So what I can actually do right here is just go gold rare, so we don't have to worry about looking at the non-rares. Then go centre back. How many centre backs are there from France? Sorry, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these wouldn't do that well. Despite France being a popular nation, there's a lot of supply. What about right backs? 3 at discard. It's not amazing. What about left backs? 1. And that is why Moroni in the past has gone to like 2, 3k multiple times. We can see her doing really well there. We can see her doing really well there, and she even did relatively well there. The reason Moroni does well is because she's literally the only rare French left back who isn't expensive, which means she's your only option for generic SBCs, which is why Moroni is one of the best investments you can go for during Black Friday, because she has extremely good generic SBC utility. So let's have a look at some other positions when it comes to France. Left mid, I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3, so it's not amazing there. Right mid's only got 1, so that wouldn't be too bad. We can go look at right wings. Right wing, they've only got 1, which again is why Baltimore has done well in the past for multiple generic SBCs. 1, 2, and then, well, she's done well because she's needed for UCL marquee matchups. If we head to left wings, we've got the exact same. In fact, there is only 1 default left wing. So again, I understand a few people would say, well, you know, you can go and use all these guys in left wing, but again, when people are buying players for SBCs, they're not looking at all positions, which is why these players consistently do well with every generic SBC. So your first investment is buying players from the same nation as their league in positions where there's a lack, and the second one is buying rares from the top nations in positions where there's a lack of alternatives. Now your third combination is just a very generic club stock, and that is basically buying silvers. Now the reason that silvers are so good is because EA has a tendency, especially you can see during marquee matchups, of going minimum requirement silvers. So what this leads to happen is the silvers end up rising to the prices of golds, especially the silver rares. So another really nice club stack that you can do is you can go silver rares, 400 coins, there we go. And what you can do is just put this filter in and buy anyone from a top 5, you can even go top 9 nation. So that'd be the top 5 leagues, and then Brazil, Argentina, I don't think Belgium's too bad. And what I would do is I'd go silver rare, I'd put your maximum buy now 400 coins because they really can't get much cheaper, and I would just go and club stack, oh yeah, Portugal is in there as well. I would just go and club stack these players, and what you can do is just scroll to the end here. You should be able to press compare price back out, that'll refresh the market. There you go, you can go buy Dutch players, I'd say they're a top 9 nation, you can go buy an Italian player there, and what you're doing is you're just going to go and club stack and just wait till these players are needed for generic SBCs. Again, you can literally buy them at discard, and these can perform very well. On top of that, you actually can do the exact same thing with rare bronzes. Again, that's rare bronzes from the top 9 nations. Rather than doing the scrolling method though, you can just literally go from them one by one. And as I say, these should be needed for a variety of SBCs, and again, you're buying them at discard. Hey, let's say they don't go up, just use them in the SBCs. And I'd say that's about it. When are you going to go and sell them? I'd sell the players when they at minimum double to triple. We do expect these players literally going from 700 coins to 3-4k. It happens every year for the last few years. Unless EA decide to not do SBCs every few hours. But again, that would go against the normal trend. But that, give or take, wraps it up about what sort of investments you guys can make ahead of Black Friday to make some good money. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.